Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I am Martina Lily, and today we're going to do an overhyped or worth the hype makeup edition video, but we are going to do it exclusively about blushes. There have been so many amazing new blush releases, or even slightly older blushes that have gone viral for one reason or another, and I wanted to share my thoughts on them. So hopefully that sounds interesting to you guys. If it does, do the YouTubey thing, subscribe, like the video, hit that notification bell, and then let's get started. Overhyped or worth the hype blush edition. As a side note, this makeup look is either up or coming. If it's up, I will link it down below. If it's not linked down below, it is coming, so stay tuned. I will also link down below any of the videos for any of the blushes that I mention in today's video. So if you wanted to see like demos of them or more in-depth thoughts or anything like that, then they will be linked down below for you guys. The first one is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Blush Balm. This is in the shade Rosy and Brunch, and I've talked about this a heap on my channel, so I'll keep this brief. I'm obsessed. This is hands down one of the best cream blushes I have ever tried, ever, period. It is so good, so good. It is one of those formulas that's very smoothing and blurring and honestly so natural and seamless on the skin. You can almost like, if you didn't know that like your skin wouldn't naturally just strategically blush in different colors on your skin, for example, you would honestly think that it is just your skin. Like, it is one of the most flawless cream blushes I've tried, and a really amazing thing about this formula is that it is very highly pigmented, so you can really, like, you need to go soft with it if you're kind of a paler color like me. Or do you though? You might like a full-on blush, but like it means that most of these shades, if not all of the shades, are going to translate from like pale to like deep dark shades, because it really is like a tailorable kind of pigmentation is what I'm trying to say, and opaqueness of the shades. So I definitely think this one is worth all of the hype plus more. A newer blush from a brand that I absolutely love, the Haus Labs blushes. I actually don't even know if I've shown these on my channel yet, apart from like talking about them in reviews. I need to include these in some videos. I will do that coming up. If I do have any, they'll be linked down below. But this is Pomelo Peach and Acai Sky, and I think the shades are stunning. I actually think the shade range of these blushes are impeccable. For me, these are just meh. They're not necessarily overhyped or worth the hype. They're just smack bang in the middle for me, because, oh, I guess that means they're kind of overhyped a little bit. But listen, I love the brand, I love the foundation, I love the powder, I love the highlight, the bronzer, and I was expecting to be obsessed with these, but for some reason I can't quite pinpoint exactly the reason. I just don't super duper enjoy using these. I think they're just maybe slightly too pigmented for me, which is a really good thing for deeper skin tones, but because I'm the color of a sheet of paper, it can make it a little bit difficult for me, and I just don't find it as easy to blend out, and like I don't find it as airbrushing and smoothing on the skin as some other blushes. So I was slightly disappointed in these. I do want to play around with them a lot more though, but I mean, granted, I do understand that this shade is like super duper deep, and I probably shouldn't have got it in the first place, but I do like to just add a little kiss of berry color on my cheeks sometimes, which is why I picked it up. They're not necessarily terrible, but they're definitely not like this holy grail status for me. The Too Faced Cloud Crush Blurring Blushes. I have seen these everywhere. I don't go on TikTok, so I don't know if these are viral on TikTok. I'm assuming they probably are though, because one, this packaging is so adorable, and also it smells like candy and it's delightful. And I don't normally like fragrance in my makeup products at all, but this scent from Too Faced is really delightful. The shade is beautiful. I mean, if you're looking for that icy cool tone pink, if you don't want that icy cool tone pink, then definitely pick a different shade. But when I tell you blurring, like they've called these the blurring blushes, and when I tell you that is the most apt description for this blush, it really is. This is one of the most blurring blushes I have ever used on my skin, hands down, period. I really do want to pick up another shade of this, because this isn't going to be a shade that I would reach for like every single day, and I just would love to have an everyday blush shade in this formula because it truly is so smoothing and so lovely on the skin. Like, again, this one is really, really worth the hype in my opinion. I actually think, I have not been a fan of Too Faced that often, but I really do think that Too Faced nailed these blushes. They are impeccable, like honestly impeccable. This next blush I included in my very first Overhyped or Worth the Hype video, so I'll link that down below for you guys. And I need to include it in this video. And listen, I am someone who can admit when they are wrong, is what I'm trying to say. And I was wrong about this blush, at least, well, let me explain. So this is the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush, and in my first Overhyped or Worth the Hype video, I had the shade Peachy something or Coral something, and I was talking about how much I just really didn't get the hype around them because I really was not phased. I picked up this shade, which is Virtue. I decluttered that first one, and so you're probably thinking, why would you pick up another one if you decluttered it and said you didn't like it? Because of this shade. Okay, I could not walk past this beautiful, like, burnt terracotta shade. It was purely this shade, pure and simple. If you know me, you know I love the Victoria Beckham Playground cream blush. It's like one of my all-time favorites, if not my favorite, and this just reminded me so much of it, but even more like terracotta-y, if that's a word, that I just had to have it. And I could always make the formula work for me, I just wasn't super phased, but I don't know if she has changed the formula ever so slightly with this new shade, or if my makeup style or my makeup technique or my makeup preferences have changed. I don't know what it is, but this freaking blush is impeccable. Like, it is impeccable. It has become such a fave. I'm wearing it underneath the powder blush that I'm wearing today. I have not stopped using it since I picked this up. Like, I cannot stop using it. It is so beautiful. It's beautiful on the skin. It's layering really well over powder, which the other one that I had, the other shade of this, didn't. So again, I don't know if it's the formula or me, probably me. I'll put my hand up and say, hi, it's me, I'm the problem. This is worth the hype, you guys. This, especially this Virtue shade, if you've been eyeing this off and you kind of like, either like Playground from Victoria Beckham or have been eyeing a shade like that, or you like my kind of makeup preference and makeup style, if we're like twinning like that, you will love this because holy dooly, it is incredible. Incredible. I eat my words from the last video, disregard it because I love this so much it's not even funny. Charlotte Tilbury. These are the matte blush ones. Charlotte Tilbury is a brand that seems to always go viral. It seems to always get really hyped up, pretty much all of her products that she releases, and I have had like hit and misses with the brand. I definitely don't think I would count the brand as like one of my favorite brands. I think it's a lovely brand and I am interested whenever they are releasing new products and whether or not I want to pick them up and try them. But it's just kind of like hit and miss with me and the brand personally. And with these wands, I kind of like the contour wand. I really, really love like the Spotlight Beauty Light wand. The blushes are okay, and these ones are the same where they're just kind of okay. I've got quite a few videos of these on my channel, and I have Peach Pop and Pink Pop. I wish I had gone onto her website directly and bought these. Instead, I bought them off Mecca. And I wish I'd gotten Pillow Talk because the Pillow Talk shade actually looks like the shade that I would have really liked. So Pink Pop and Peach Pop, I say it all the time, Pink Pop is just peach still, but anyway. The formula's fine. Like, honestly, the formula is fine, but would I say get these over the NARS Liquid Blush, over the Danessa Myricks, over the Rare Beauty? Hands down, no. Like, I think that these are so overrated compared to those three other formulas. It's just not even funny. And I don't know the price comparison, but I want to take a stab in the dark and probably say that those other three cream or those other liquid cream blushes, etc., I'm pretty sure they would be cheaper than these. And I just think these get super hyped up because they like the wands and they do like the fancy dot thing on the Instagram reels and the TikToks and all that. And it's Charlotte Tilbury. And look, it's just my personal opinion. I'm not coming to shade you if you love them, but I do just think these are really quite overhyped. Personally. This one was sold out for so long in Australia. It still gets, like, as soon as it gets restocked in Australia now, it pretty much gets sold out instantly again. And it's the Dior Rosy Glow blush, also the peach one, which I actually haven't been able to see in stock either. I really just wanted to try this Rosy Glow one personally. I have a this or that video comparing this Dior Rosy Glow with the Too Faced like pink blush that I showed already, this one, because they were quite similar and you guys wanted to see them compared. So this one is the Rosy Glow blush. I'm fairly certain it was like Kylie Jenner sent this particular blush like completely viral, talking about how it's her favorite blush and it's like supposed to adjust to your pH levels, blah blah blah. And this little blush is not a cheap blush. I think it was about 69 Australian dollars. But I gotta say, it's really worth the hype. I really wasn't expecting it to be worth the hype, if I'm honest, especially being this is such an icy pink. I was like, oh, I don't know how that's gonna go on me. It's not my super like kind of preference. But because it is that adjusting kind of like formula, it does, like when you apply it, it warms up a little bit more to the skin. So it's like a nice kind of softer pink on the skin. And I was really surprised. I really like it. Like consistently, I'm like, oh, I want to wear my Dior blush. Like it's a formula that I think to reach for. It's a formula I want to reach for, which I have a ridiculously large blush collection. So for the fact that it's like always at the forefront of my mind to use, it tells me that it is really an impeccable formula and really an impeccable blush. And so I think this has got to be one of the most hyped blushes, if not the most hyped blush I've ever come across. And so I really do actually think that this little product is worth the hype. And lastly, another product that went, I feel like super viral, at least over YouTube and my subscription feed on YouTube, and it was pretty hard to get a hold of. I mean, it took for ages to get this in Australia, but I noticed that even on like the UK sites and everything, like as soon as this got dropped on the site, it pretty much sold out like within an hour. It is the Chanel Blush and Eye Palettes. I have 957 Tendresse. And it's actually, I'm wearing this powder bronzer, powder highlight, and these two blushes on my face actually in this look today. And I picked this up. I actually swung kind of like back and forth on whether or not I would pick this up because I was kind of like, oh, I mean, it was about I think it was 130 or $150. I think it might have been 130 Australian dollars. I could be a little bit wrong about that. It'll be linked. But I just kind of was like, oh, will I actually get use out of it? The shades are beautiful, but like I just was more torn around the practicality. Would I actually get use out of it? Everyone was talking about how much they loved it, but I was kind of like, do they just love it because it's Chanel and it's like something so new and like, ooh, or like, you know, kind of hyped and that kind of a thing? Or do they, like, is it actually a really good product? And then my friend Melina, she picked this up and she was telling me how much she actually super duper loved it. And I was like, okay, I feel like I need to try it then because we have quite a similar makeup style. And I gotta say, this has really been worth the hype. It really has. I was impressed. I was truly going in. I think it got so hyped that my expectations went really high and then kind of dropped really low because it was like so hyped. Usually when a product is like just going everywhere, I see it everywhere, I'm just kind of like a bit wary about it and I'm really skeptical of it. And so I think it kind of had this reverse psychology effect on me so that when I actually tried it, it was like, oh, you actually are really good. And yeah, I super duper love it. I think if you're like my skin tone or paler, it's actually really a awesome face palette for you because this bronzer is actually a really nice bronzer for me and it's actually really quite neutral too. So for me, it's like a really nice bronzer, perfect undertone, that kind of a thing. This highlight is really lovely. It's just very non-texturizing. It's not like super blinding. It's quite subtle. I really like it. And then these blushes are absolutely beautiful as well. I like mixing them together, but even on their own, they're really, really beautiful. It does have a slight satin finish to them, like all these three. Obviously, this is a highlighter, so it's a bit more blinding, but these three have a slight more matte, satin finish to them, which I don't personally mind. I think it's actually quite lovely on the skin, and especially if I'm wearing like a more matte foundation or a natural finish foundation, it just kind of lifts the skin a little bit. I'm pleasantly surprised that this one was truly worth the hype. That is all of the overhyped / worth the hype blushes I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I would love to kind of get your thoughts on whether or not you maybe agree, disagree with me on these blushes, and if you've tried any of them. And let me know if you have any products that you are eyeing off that seem, you know, hyped, and whether or not you want to know like if they are worth it or overhyped, blah blah blah, because yeah, I'd be interested, especially with a lot of products that, you know, I don't super duper keep up with trends a lot of the time. So let me know some products that you want to know some more thoughts on. If you're watching till this point, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. I truly appreciate it. If you haven't already, pretty please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. And I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.